Good afternoon, good morning to every data lover joining us today for this incredible LinkedIn discussion that we are planning for you. This is Pio Marola speaking from the headquarters of Thinkrinkers in Prague in the Czech Republic. First of all, 5 p.m. today, CET time. Let's see who is joining us and where are you coming from. Now, customer centricity, customer experience, know your customer. We've been talking about these things for I would say a decade, but it's only since 2020 that these things shifted from being nice to have to must-haves. It became a huge priority and a huge competitive differentiator for organizations to have a better customer experience and to know their customer better. Now, of course, this is very much going to be the topic of the day. And I'd like to also ask you, to all the people watching us, from 1 to 10, what would you say is the priority of improving customer experience in your organization? Post in the comments. Now, the topic today, the discussion today, will be with Al Bismayer and Jürgen Müller from Via Medici, a wonderful partner for the Data Management Marathon 6.0, coming 1 week from now, really. So it's really almost here, and we couldn't be more excited about it. It's a great meeting for all data lovers that wish to join the virtual room, come together, share their experience, understand how to advance in their data management journey, and share both their success and their also the things that didn't succeed so well, but that taught them how to basically learn from failures to get to success. And therefore, I'd like to remind you to head to thinkrinkers.com, obviously, where you can see some more information about the Data Management Marathon. You can see the speakers that will be there from incredible organizations, Amazon, Apple, BAT, GSK, Philips, all there, showing you also that there are a lot of things that these organizations have in common. Because sometimes, you think about conferences and you think, oh, is it for my specific industry? But the truth is, when it comes to data management and MDM, many things, many challenges, as well as many objectives are shared. And we can see, for example, about the topic of today, customer experience, who hasn't got customers? B2C companies have it, B2B companies have it, every industry has it, and all of them need to know who the customer is, who the customers are, and what they want. Again, incredible topics. You can read all about them on our website, where you can also access the agenda, where you can see the agenda is almost final. You can see all the speakers, their names, what they're going to talk about, and when they're going to talk about. And finally, of course, here's your pass. And again, this is an incredibly cost and time-effective way to talk to people that are on the same journey as yours. It's not often that you speak in your organizations with companies that understand what the objectives are when it comes to data management, who understand what is the value of data. So it is important to join and be part of a strong network that really encourages progress, encourages learning from experience and mistakes. We've got US and we've got Bangalore as well. Great to see you both here. Moving on, it's a pleasure for me to invite the two guests of the day, Jürgen Müller and Al Bismayer, to the stage. Hi, Jürgen. Hi, Al. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing, Theo?
Fantastic. Fantastic. So it's always great from every 6 months or so to see what's happening with you, to have you in one of our LinkedIn discussions. But for those who either don't remember or don't know you yet, tell us something about yourself, Jürgen and Al.
Yeah, so hi Pio, great to be here again. So yeah, my name is Jürgen. I'm co-founder and CEO of Via Medici. My background is actually on the technology side since ever. So I'm coming from an engineering background and then started with management consulting, which was of course very interesting to get really deep insight in all the processes of the global corporations and how they're working and where the problems are. And I was always interested in high tech and technical innovations, and then the topic of get technical innovations to work in practice and really find good ways of application to improve work, to improve life experience, to improve efficiency of companies. And this is also what we do with Via Medici. So that's actually exactly that topic. So MDM, master data management, product information management, all these topics circle around data. And data, this is simply the foundation for everything today. So most important topic, and so very exciting. Yeah.
Fantastic. Al?
Hi, Theo. I've been involved in emerging technologies for probably over 30 years. And in the course of my career, I've been really fortunate to have won several awards with my customers for the implementation of those technologies. It's actually been kind of exciting to actually be included in the teams when they've actually received the awards for implementing the solutions that they did. And I see more and more usage of technology in addition to processes. And the MDM topic that we'll be discussing today really lends itself to some new and emerging things that can capture customers and actually enhance organizations and create differentiation. So I'm excited about our session today.
Fantastic. Let's get to it. So customer experience, to begin with, it's something that heavily relies on this core data, MDM being the foundations of it. But let's start with what does customer experience mean for you, and also in general, what does the customer want?
So from my perspective, one of the things that we've been seeing, and I think it's across all industries, whether it's B2B or B2C, is that customers have become Amazoned. And what do I mean by that? People want something immediately. They want to be able to get on, find the information that they want, order the product, and have it be available to them the next day, or in some instances, in the afternoon of that day. And so there's a need for speed across the industry from an e-commerce perspective, or actually working to look at the product information that's there. But in order to be able to actually make those determinations and work with, the products that you're working with, you have to have accurate information. So it's not just, going in and looking at the product. It's actually having the details around those products. And in a recent marketing survey that was done, it said that 90% of people that do research on a specific product or something that they're looking at for do not receive the complete information that they need around a product. So that speed thing is really hindered oftentimes by having the appropriate information at your fingertips to actually make the purchase or go through with the transaction. And we're seeing that across the board globally. There's more and more of a push to be able to have the right information about a product and be able to fulfill that product order in a very short time frame. So speed is of the essence, I think.
Yeah.
Jürgen, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Actually, it's all about speed, ease, consistency, completeness of information. You don't want to search around. You want to find everything you need to know in one place, exactly the way you need it, when you need it, and that's it. So, so there's a lot of technology out there. So it is absolutely possible to provide this, and customers simply expect it. So they're used to it because on some platforms you simply get the full package. So this is kind of the benchmark for everything else, and so this is expected from each touch point today, and that's a challenge for the companies and for the businesses to provide this kind of service. on this kind of experience. Yeah.
And what I would add on that too is one of the things we're seeing is that in the B2B space, it's equivalent to B2C. So in many instances, you saw in the past, people would figure out how to get around things within an office with a cell phone. They're expecting their real life to mirror itself in their working life. And in B2B commerce, you're seeing the same thing. The folks that traditionally did things, they're looking for self-service. They want to be able to go in and actually look at the products and make the determination for those products and order those products from a B2B perspective in much the same way that they do in a B2C perspective. So they're looking for speed as well. They're looking for information. And in a B2B environment, obviously there's oftentimes much more complexity around the product, which really pushes back to the whole need for good data and good detail around that data. So that's what we're seeing.
You've just anticipated a question that that popped up in the comments about customers' expectations in terms of B2B organizations. And yeah, I agree with you. And it's just as you said before, the customer is getting Amazon, really. Whether it's B2C, B2B, there's really a tendency that we have been seeing. And that is something that, of course, comes from the fact that customers are becoming younger and younger. Because, of course, that is a generation that is already used to a certain level of technology, but it's also something that was sped up greatly by the pandemic and so on. So now the thing about it is, yes, all of this is very much related to the necessity and dependent on the fact that MDM needs to provide this solid foundation for all the things that build on top and provide insights into the customer, what does he want, who he is, and so on. But I know that one thing that is quite unique about your service, about your solution offering, is the fact that you offer product configuration, MDM, PIM. Why is it different from just relying on MDM? What is this, let's say, synergy of this platform having all these things important?
Yeah. So what we want to do is actually we want to provide a foundation, a platform that simply covers on the data side everything you need in order to, on top of this, build your front-end applications and build best possible customer experience and interaction. And this is simply, it is not only the data itself, it's also all the relations between the data. So it's going direction, data fabric, data mesh, all that stuff. It's of course always multi-domain because you have your products, you have your parts, but you also have suppliers, you have distributors, you have markets, you have channels. You need to link all this together. Then we also see a lot of individualization, personalization topics coming up, variant-rich portfolios, etc. So here you need to provide a kind of self-service environment, and not only self-service for end customers, but also an efficient environment for your own sales team and distributors in order to buy or sell those more complex products. And this means guided selling application and things like that. And here you need complex rule sets in the background. And again, our goal is to provide all the instruments needed. So, from creating source rule sets, maintaining them, and making them available, and this always in real time, so very fast. And that's it. So it's a kind of service-based platform where customers can just, pick the services they need, but everything is there. So they do not need to spend any money on integration costs or anything like that. So it's all available, but they can choose and pick what they need and extend maybe in the next stage.
Any thoughts, Saul?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is key is the MDM aspect of things is really all around, the creating the golden record and getting the data right. And then you get into the actual management of the data and the interrelationships of that data. And one of the things that we do that I think is very differentiating is we have a dynamic data model, which allows you to make changes to the model itself dynamically in real time. So not only are you doing things on the consumption side when you're pushing stuff out to e-commerce or for someone to access data that's also available in real time via data store, but you can actually modify or change relationships within the models themselves on the fly, which makes it very fast. So if you think about it from you have really good solid data that is consistent across the organization, and then you can actually create the relationships of that data within the system, and then you can actually enrich that data, and then you can send it out to either directly access it in a self-service format, or you can use our guided selling capabilities to actually do a configuration, which is also self-service. And a third thing that we do or fourth thing that we do that we didn't really mention is AI and analytics and AI as it pertains to this. So then you can think of, hey, if someone comes into a system, are they getting pointed in a direction specifically to focus on the products that they currently have so that it speeds up their selection assessment? So the overall platform and the solution set allows you to really be very competitive and provide the information that people need immediately.
Yeah, again, speed. Indeed, quite important to have this in real time. And let's talk a little bit more about what this idea of self-service customer for the customer and guided selling. Why self-service is important? You mentioned something before about the customer not wanting to interact with any sales rep, for instance, and also the guided selling part. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
So it's this is actually something which was especially during the pandemic. This received a significant push. From one day to the other, we've been in a situation where it was simply not possible anymore that sales reps visit their customers and then sit beside them and discuss with them. Okay, especially if it's complex B2B things. So what exactly do you need? What are your requirements? And then start a configuration process, come up with a proposal, and all these things. So it was simply impossible. And all those companies that did not have any digital way of supporting that process, more or less were completely cut off from any sales activities. So everybody invested in this topic, and it really experienced a significant push, and customers got used to it. So the situation is simply what you want to do is you want to provide your customers with an online application that supports them in the selection process and in the configuration process. And at best, of course, you want to do it in a way that, because you don't know from where somebody wants to start a product selection or configuration. So the best is simply to give them maximum freedom to do it the way they want. And maybe start with some environmental conditions or with area of applications or some technical feature or whatsoever. So just approach this process from wherever they want and walk through it as they like and change whenever they feel the need to change it or circle back or whatsoever. And always make sure that the options you presented are the correct ones, and it's possible to build it and it's possible to deliver it. And this gives also people the opportunity simply to experience and to kind of feel what is possible. It's not just sitting together and maybe beside a sales consultant and then be in a discussion. You can experience yourself. Okay, if I go more that direction, then I have 200 options and lots of possibilities. If I limit it more in this direction, this is significantly less, and so on. And you can experience and try out what is the best for you. And you can do it whenever you like, and you can do it in a very relaxed environment, and that's it. And this is simply what people became used to, and they don't want to miss it anymore. So as usual, it's the same with B2C and B2B. what you're used to from B2C, you want to have in B2B, and it's the same here. People got used to this self-service situation where they can try out things on their own, and now they simply want to have it. They don't want to miss it anymore, and it has really significant advantages. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Al?
Yeah, I think to piggyback on what Jürgen was mentioning, I think one of the key things we're seeing is when you think about self-service, it's one thing if you know the product and all the details of the product that you're ordering, okay? And it seems pretty self-explanatory that if someone's going to order a product, they would know what they're ordering. But when you get into a B2B environment, that's not always the case. Some of the people know conceptually what they want, but they don't know the intricacies of what they may need. And so one of the things, and this goes back to data as well, from a guided selling perspective, what we provide and what we see more and more companies needing is when I go in to buy a specific thing, if I'm going to make a selection and it's not viable, then it comes back to me within my configuration and says, hey, this isn't something that you should be doing, but you could do this, that, or the other. And provides alternatives and things that you should consider as part of that ordering process. And when you get through with it, and what we're seeing more and more companies liking to do is you actually go in and you have the ability to configure a product, put together what you want to order, and then send it to an internal salesperson for review, and then they can accept it or make suggestions and then pass it through to fulfill the order. Or if you are comfortable and you've done it enough, then you actually have the ability to do the order yourself. Mm-hmm. It's becoming more and more a trend, I think, because to Jürgen's point, what you saw with COVID is there were no sales, these organizations, they were disparate. You don't have the people that are doing, sales. You don't have the people that are doing order fulfillment. You don't have a number of these different folks. And so the reliance and push for self-service was even greater. And when you look at the B2B market versus B2C, the B2B is much larger from an e-commerce perspective. It's about 5 times that of the e-commerce for B2C. And so with the complexity and with the things that are going on, the push for self-service and being able to go in and do that configuration and being able to do that order fulfillment is key. And now that people have gotten a taste of it, it's only accelerating, and there's more and more of a push to do those orders themselves and kind of work through product configuration themselves. But once again, the data needs to be good. Otherwise, the stuff falls down.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting because this is really a change that I thought was temporary due to the impossibility of any other way of selling and any other way of servicing the customer. But I am noticing, just like you, that these are things that are here to stay, really. And but how do you think we bridge this distance from? Because you could say that the guided selling or anyway servicing the customer in a let's say touchless manner, let's say without a sales representative, it's harder to feel the product. How do you actually provide the customer with an experience that makes him feel the product? Things that really make him pull the trigger, really, just from looking at it online, let's say.
Yeah, well, there are actually several ways to achieve this. So one is, of course, full animation. You can easily provide fully animated 3D guided selling experience, so that you immediately, when you make a change, you immediately see, turn it around, and so on, zoom into details, and maybe even also change to a more technical drawing view and things like that. So even more options are directly available than if you can touch the real product. So that's of course one way of doing things. But what is of course also always possible is to provide possibilities for interaction and kind of collaboration. Like for example, we have scenarios where our customers provide guided selling applications, and then it's possible that you invite a consultant to your project, maybe halfway through. You invite somebody, then he's direct access to your project, can assist you, can help you, can communicate with you. So so you can do it on your own, and you can do it alone, and you have everything fully visualized. But you can also always get others involved and cooperate. And that's, I think, extremely positive experience for both sides. So it's very efficient for a vendor and the manufacturer. And it's simply absolute perfect service for a customer. And it combines both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. Any thoughts, Al?
Yeah, I think one of the big things, and Jurgen kind of talked about the physical interaction, but I think another thing that's a key aspect of the whole thing is the engagement of the customer and actually having the customer be engaged in the process. And I think one of the ways that you do that is and what I see our customers doing is they are actually making it easy for them to go through the process. So in addition, within the solution, they may specify the things that the customer likes or their business, the specific areas that they're doing with a business, or if in a specific product set or a specific thing that is pertinent to them, they're allowing them to get started where they're actually working with the products that they already own, so that they're just zeroing in on the specific stuff. So it makes it much easier. They don't have to go through a bunch of stuff to figure out where they should start. So that engagement is very critical, because if you make it sticky and they feel like they're engaged and them, which is part of the 360 capabilities that are there, then it makes it easier to kind of work through the process. So it's not just the virtualization and that aspect of things, but it's also customers feeling like, hey, I'm part of your organization. I've worked with you. These are the products I've bought from you. These are the things that I want to continue to enhance with you, and building out that engagement. So, and that all comes back to MDM, because you're not just dealing with the product domain. You got the domain and other domains that you're utilizing.
Yeah. Very good. Now, let's talk about some, let's say, stories, practical examples, or where, perhaps with customers, with your clients, where, an organization managed to adopt these principles and really, brought change and improvement in their customer experience and overall business growth.
Yeah, sure. So, for example, just last year, one of our new projects. This is a company specialized on lighting solutions, selling the products globally. And what we're doing is actually, of course, implementing product information management, master data management, so a strong foundation. And then on top of that, building a guided selling application, which is focused on different users, so target groups. One is kind of more CPQ style, configure price quote, so for the sales reps. So very efficient tools for the sales reps in order to configure a product and create an offer for a customer in such a situation, with all possibilities available, maximum flexibility, and then based on the same technology stack, based on the same data, also an environment for the distributors. So the distributors might want to have a bit more kind of comfort, maybe a bit more visualization, a bit more guidance in the process. So a little bit more pre-configuration maybe to make it a bit easier. And this is what we're doing. So it's same data, same technology stack, but different experience, more suited for distributor scenarios. And then again, based on exactly the same technology and data, for the end customer. And here, of course, you want to have maximum support and guidance, maximum visualization, and everything focused on experience. And it's an emotional product, lights and lightning solutions are emotional products. So you want to trigger the emotions as well. And this is what we're doing. So, and I think that's a very strong way of doing it, to really provide targeted experience for the different user group, to really give them maximum support and maximum efficiency in what they're doing.
Very good, very good. Any story from you, Al? Any case study you particularly?
Well, one of the ones that jumps out at me is we have a customer of ours that is out of Asia, and they're a global company, and they actually they sell flow meters as an example, and they were having a very hard time getting a product line off the ground because of its complexity. And so what they decided to do is use our PIM and CPQ capabilities to actually make the product information available, or the configuration capabilities available to their sales force. It was extremely successful. They rolled it out to 3,000 salespeople. Their sales went from virtually zero to 750 million in 2 years. And then they said, hey, we need to provide this to our customers as well, where they can configure the product. And so they took that same data set and they extended it, and they limited some of the options, obviously. But then it allowed the end consumer to actually, or the business consumer, to configure the product and then have the sales team review it. And then it got to the point where they were just doing it themselves. So now you have a hybrided solution where you're working off the same data set for both the sales team and the end consumer or business user, and extremely successful. With a highly complex and technical product. So it's a little bit different than the lighting example, but not as much emotion in flow meters, but it was great success. So I like that story.
Very good. Speaking about clients, actually, one of the things I recall from one of the first few times we talked about partnering for the Data Management Marathon, is that you have an incredible customer retention and customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
Now, since we're speaking about customer experience, why do you think it is so? What do you think the customers of Via Medici really see that justifies this incredible ratings?
Yeah, I think yeah, I think so. The rules that apply to the market as a whole, and also what our customers want to provide for their customers, we also respect those rules regarding our own products, and really look carefully on, I think our mission is a little bit, so almost every company today has a challenge that it has somehow to develop towards a tech company. This is what happens right now. Tech is everywhere. So if you don't develop towards a tech company, it's even dangerous. You might be out of business. And what we try to do is we try to be as supportive as possible in this process, and really provide the solutions and provide the ecosystem, so partners, consultants, so the whole package that helps our customers to get there, and really focus on value, focus on customer value, focus on results, focus on efficiency, focus on processes, and I think in the end this works. This is a very successful overall package. And we were doing it from the beginning. So simply listen carefully and provide what is needed, and also What we also do is we have a consulting team on our own as well, and we also do some projects. So we can't do too many; it's simply too much. So we have our partner ecosystem, but we are always implementing some projects also on our own in order to also get that experience and then again improve things if needed. So we have very close cooperation with our customers in general. So we get feedback. They help us to create a roadmap. They help us to decide on the features. They let us know what they think about the future and discuss with us. And from here we can decide what is the best to do regarding roadmap, innovation, technology, and things like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you're active in Europe, worldwide.
We're active globally. Of course, I think you have to do it in this business. Most companies are now selling their products on a global basis. They have a kind of wide sourcing regarding the different activities, sourcing, production, support, and so on, all from different regions in the world. So of course we need to support it. So we are active globally, and we also have several competence centers where we're really doing basic research. Like for example, we are very active in AI and machine learning, what I think is a real game changer for many things. Also regarding MDM and everything, but that would be a separate discussion.
Yeah.
And it will also be a game changer for many industries in general. And we also have a competence center regarding business process management. So again, something which is very important to have efficient processes, especially with working from different locations, working from remote, working from the office. Everything needs to be interactive. So we cover this as well. And then also the whole big data and real-time data topic. This is another topic where we invest heavily in, and where we have another competence center focusing on that to make sure that we can always provide all the information immediately in order to give maximum flexibility regarding processes and whatever our customers want to build on top of it.
Fantastic. Now, if people want to know more about Via Medici or want to connect with you, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, well, I think the best way is, of course, if you want to explore a bit about Via Medici, go to our website, viamedici.com, go to our LinkedIn profiles, other social media profiles, or maybe also visit us in person at one of our events. So you can find them again on our website. And of course, also meet us digital at the Data Management Marathon next week, for example, where we also will have a customer presenting his project.
Very good, very good. Al, something, can you give us a bit of a sneak peek about next week? What can people expect from you? What are you going to talk about?
Yes, so we have a great customer of ours, Pfeiffer, who will be speaking about their use of our solution set on a global basis. They have some really interesting data requirements. They are involved in a lot of the large arenas that have been built, or large facilities across the globe that have been built, are use Pfeiffer, and they actually have construction supply products that they make available, and they also have cranes and engineering things that are made available for the construction of those projects. And they maintain the information about the folks that are there, and they also maintain the experts for those facilities. So all that data is maintained, and I think it's really a great case study on how to effectively roll out and manage an MDM project on a global basis. They had a lot of challenges initially, and you'll get to see how they addressed them and where they're going with things. So pretty exciting.
Looking forward to it. Well, gentlemen, as always, it's a big pleasure to talk to you. And today we faced indeed a topic that is fundamental, as we were saying before, really investing in your customer experience, is a must-have. And in order to be competitive, really, and advance and take advantage of all the things, all the technology that comes out that allows to progress in customer experience and improve, having, of course, MDM at the very base and core for it. So, yeah, it was a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you the next week. Of course, I also look forward to see our audience next week. If you care about data management, you've got to be there. And yeah, any last words?
Yeah, so thanks a lot for having us here. It was a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'm also looking forward to meet you and many others next week at the Data Management Marathon. Thank you.
Fantastic. Have a great day there.
You too. Thanks a lot, Pio. Have a good one.
Cheers.